Welcome to episode 114 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren?
I'm here. I'm doing good. I'm sorry we missed last week, but the week off was good.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
Took a week off. Things going on, Sometimes, there's no rules. We sometimes just have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm back at the beach one more week. Next weekend will be the last weekend. So
close it up. Yep.
Close it up
for the winter.
Yipper. No, that's about it. Waiting to pick up my Tesla. Still waiting.
Oh, that's right. He's got that Tesla coming.
Tuesday.
Folks.
Tuesday.
We're going to be hearing about it. Boy, we got the Apple event and a Tesla to talk about in 1 week.
On Tuesday. Both on Tuesday. I don't know which one I'm more excited for.
I know. Oh, you'll have Wednesday to talk about it and Thursday to talk about it.
I'm going to be tech out. I'm going to be all teched out.
Yeah. So we'll let's just go dive into the news. And we got an Apple event to talk about. Beta. There was another beta release and some tips and apps and all that kinds of other fun stuff. So first story caught my eye was in the Mac Observer. Our friends over there. Apple One bundle was revealed in Android code. Okay. At first I'm like, why do I care about Android code? But it seems like it was confirmed that in an upcoming beta version of Apple Music for Android, that they rumored Apple One service, which is their bundle, was spotted. They spotted the code lurking in the beta version for Android. And so it looks like it's a possibility that there could be a bundle, finally. We talked about this a bunch of times. But what'd you think of this?
Yeah, I guess they found it in the Android code because it's probably easier to hack into the. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we're certainly the target audience. We're subscribing to all sorts of services, clouds, music, TV. And, even if it saves a few bucks, it'd be nice just to have it all, under one thing, so you can kind of keep better track of what you're paying, I guess. We've been asking for it. Let's see if it comes.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it happens because you add up all four services. We linked to two articles. This is also an iMore. You're paying for News Plus $10 a month, Arcade $5 a month, Music $10 a month, and Apple TV $5 a month. So it adds up, including your iCloud storage too. If you pay $3 a month for the 200 gig, so I think it would be smart if Apple decides to do this and give people a bit of a break if they want to subscribe to all these different services.
Yep. I mean, the only problem is if you do that and then you decide you don't want news anymore or you don't want the TV anymore, then you got to kind of break up the bundle again and
you'd lose it out.
You lose out. So it might end up being like kind of like cable where if you split it up, it's even if you don't get the same amount of services, you're going to end up paying more. Yeah. So you might have to just throw in something that you may not want. So we'll see how it prices out.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's definitely going to be interesting. So next story, I can't believe it. It's been a year since the Apple Card came out. And I know you probably don't use it very much, but I do. I use it a lot. There was a financial analyst that wrote an article. This was in the Mac Observer, where the Apple Card is and what's positive, what's negative. It's went through a few things. I'll say a couple of the positives is the cash back is nice. Unfortunately, there's only 3% for select retailers. There's not a lot of them. So have you used the Apple Card much? I seem to remember you do not. Right?
I've used it here and there just to purchase Apple stuff, just to get 3%. Yeah. I've never used.
You buy your MacBook Pros that you buy every other day. You get 3% of that. So
I get 3% back. Yeah, and I actually buy it on the card with the intent to pay it off that month.
Just pay right off. So I think most people are paying it off.
Which is bad for business because that's they make money on the interest. And they've also given people the interest-free holidays because of COVID for a couple of months. So, they're not. That
I've taken advantage of that.
Yeah, they're not. I did it once way back. I did something, but that's how they make their money. So you gotta wonder if that's affecting them at all.
Well, I will definitely say with my experiences with Goldman Sachs, I mean, I've got loans with them as well as the card, and they are very flexible with the working with the customers as far as giving them a break. The COVID thing has been pretty awesome. People just need a bit of a break.
Have you used the Apple Chat feature?
Yeah,
I've done that.
Yeah, I've chat with them, and in fact, I've had to dispute some charges. I shouldn't admit to some bad decision making on my part purchasing something online. I'm not going to get into details, but I disputed it, and it actually went through PayPal, and PayPal was linked to the card at the time, and the disputes have been very flawless. Every single one of them I've done has been really easy. Just do it through chat. It's very easy. Didn't have to call them.
I had one issue where I bought something and then I returned it, and then I ended up with a credit. So if you ended up with a credit on the Apple Card, it's not that easy to send that money back to your bank from the credit. It's very difficult. So I had
if it's a positive balance, that they'll have to send you a check eventually.
No, they eventually were able to to add it back to my bank account somehow, but it was.
Okay.
Or you know what it is? They transferred it to Apple Cash. And
right, to the Apple Cash card.
From the Apple Cash, you could transfer to your bank. So they didn't have a really good mechanism. But, Chat was pretty good with it. I mean, I remember kind of, remembering that they said they were going to do it and it never happened. So I had to follow up a few times, but it worked.
And it seemed like they were approving lots of people for the card. And, there even mentions an article of it's a good choice for young people for their first card, all wide range of credit scores, and but I think they need to do some changes to the retailers to get the 3%, because that entices me all the time, and I made a big purchase, and if I would have got 3% on something, that would have been awesome.
And there's some weird things with Best Buy too, because if you buy an Apple product at Best Buy,
you just only get 2%.
You don't even get the 2%. It's what was it?
Oh, if you're using the credit card, it's only 1%.
Yeah, and they don't give you the Best Buy rewards if you use your Apple card to buy Apple products. They don't give you the Best Buy rewards, and it says that somewhere because they don't want to double dip you and give you too much back, I guess is what they're saying. So It's weird. Some things are weird, but I agree with you. I would love to see more places. I would use it more if that was the case.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and I mean, just to sum it up, the quote was, "It was a solid entrant in a crowded market." Let's face it, the credit card industry. There's lots of choices out there for different accounts. They all want your business, and so. But year ago, it's been a year. I can't believe it's just gone by.
I remember being very happy when the thing showed up. Now, just to have the actual physical part of it was kind of fun.
Yeah. So, next story. This is in Macworld, actually, riddled with ads. Apple released iOS 13.7 with the Exposure Notifications Express system. This has been such a bit of a controversy with the fact that Apple has added the COVID-19 exposure notifications. And people were all up in arms. Can they turn it off? Do I have control of it? Well, this actually was the actual Express system. You can actually turn on the exposure notifications without downloading a separate app, depending on the state you live in, I guess, from what I'm finding. We talked about this a little bit last night on Mac to the Future, but
and we're still confused. I'm confused.
And we're still very confused.
Yeah.
I went through and we went. You're in Pennsylvania. I'm in Illinois. Right now you're in New Jersey. So. Every state's different. If you go try to enable it, it'll ask you what state you live in, and it'll tell you what if it is enabled in that state. In the case of Illinois, it's not. In the case of I think Virginia, it was, but then you had to download an app.
Right. So I thought the whole point was you didn't need the app, and
right.
So there's no way to toggle. At least for me, there was no way to toggle it on if I didn't
Right.
get the app. And then if I put in Pennsylvania, it says good news. There's an app, and then it says click here, and you click there. It opens the app store and says it lists the 4 or 5 states, and Pennsylvania was one of them. So then you're stuck there. So it's definitely it's not doing what it needs to do.
It's still I still think they need to get that cleared up.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody dives into that.
I mean, I'm sure they're just getting so much pushback with people who don't understand it and don't want to be tracked, and they're not doing such a great job of telling the public, I don't think, of what it's doing. I think a lot of people are just freaking out. You see the post on Facebook saying, do not update to iOS 13.6 because they will track you and they'll know everywhere you're going. And and then you have to explain that that's not the case. And now I'm not even sure if that's the case or not because of this Express thing, and I'm just staying out of it. I'm going to stay out of the middle of it. So.
Yeah, I agree. Then last news story I had in here, a carrier marketing actually confirmed that the iPhone 12 will have 5G support, which we've been kind of wondering if that was the case. I guess a well-known leaker, this is on Apple Insider, shared a screenshot of a leaked carrier marketing email on Twitter, and it says, "Hello, iPhone 12, be the first to experience." He blocked out the carrier 5G. It's been long rumored that the iPhone 12 is going to have support of the 5G cellular network, but I'm pretty confident that Apple would be crazy not to include it in the new phone, iPhone. So, what'd you think?
I mean, supposedly they are. That's the rumor that it's going to be in at least one of them. I don't know if it's going to be in all of them, but I honestly think they should stick them in all of it, all the phones at this point, because it's 5G may not be there yet this year, but people keep phones for a while, and next year might be different. And 5G. There was a Tech Meme Ride Home. I guess I listened to covered it. They did speed tests basically of 5G, and basically they were saying that LTE was faster than 5G in most places around the country, and the only one that's good is a Verizon one, but it's very limited. It was like 5%, not even 4% in New York City had it. So, I mean, it's not there yet. I mean, when it's there and 5G is everywhere and it's fast, and it's going to be a really big thing. But right now it's kind of not there yet, which is kind of sad. But, I don't know how much it costs to add that radio to an iPhone. But, I personally would rather them, charge an extra $30 for the phones and have them in there. Just because, you never know if you're going to want it. And it's good to have.
Yeah. Yep. So that's news we got to cover this week. And then actually more news. We're just going to make that into a topic this week because next 2 weeks we'll be talking about the Apple's September 15th, 2020 Time Flies event. The Apple event is only about 4 days away here now. Let's see. Yeah, as we record this. Yeah, next Tuesday.
There's a countdown somewhere. And I saw it.
Yeah, there's got to be a countdown somewhere, and it was kind of interesting to see. Apple just went ahead and just announced it. So it's on their press announcement. They had that interesting caricature of and I even saw there was an Easter egg that made it look like a 9/15 for the date.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, kind of crazy to notice silly things like that, but
it also did AR. You could use augmented reality to put it somewhere for whatever reason.
Yeah. So so you go to the events list on Apple's website. It says Apple event. Join us from Apple Park. It'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and they even give you an option to add to your calendar. I even got an email on it. I don't know if you did.
I did indeed. Yep. I got the email.
Yeah,
I felt special.
We're on the official list.
Yeah, I guess
we feel special.
They know we have an iPhone and a watch somehow.
They must know.
I think they know. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to go over what we kind of think to expect. I think for sure, the moniker was Time Flies. So, time, watch, sounds pretty confident that that's the Apple Watch Series 6 is going to be revealed. I know on Mac Rumors there was someone who actually went into the metadata of the YouTube video that was announcing this event for next week, and they saw Watch Series 6 was mentioned as one of the items in the metadata.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be definitely something interesting. What I'd like to know is with the Apple Watch, what do you think? You have a Series 3 is the low end model, and then right now we have the Series 5. Series 6 will be out. What do you think they're gonna put in as the lower end model, or are they even come out with? Maybe they'll come out a more affordable, under $200 model for the Apple Watch.
If history shows you anything, then I think they would make the 4 the lower model and bring it back.
You think they'd bring back the 4?
Or just rebrand it as something.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know what a lower cost watch would do that the regular watch wouldn't do. Right now the 3 does a lot less, right, than the 4 and 5 as far as.
Yes. I think the 3 is good. Yeah, just with the 2 and the 1, I think it's just
right. So the 3 right now doesn't do
time to retire.
It doesn't do the heart, the EKG. It doesn't have the bigger screen size. So it is a lot of things it doesn't do. I think a lot of people buy the watch for that kind of stuff. So I would think the 4 would do most of everything that I would need to do, and they could probably get it cheaper. What I don't know is what they're going to do with the new one, the real one, the 6. The only rumor I hear is the blood oxygen test.
Right,
sensor,
that was one thing I heard. Yeah,
which is basically measures the amount of oxygen in your blood, which could give you some indication of some health issues. And they do mention it could kind of lead to some health issues relating to your lungs.
Yeah.
Which goes back to COVID, possibly. I know my dad for like $20, you could buy a tiny thing that goes on your finger. It does the same thing. So they're out there, that kind of stuff. That doesn't appeal to me. So literally, if it's the same watch with just that feature, I know I say this every year, but that would not make me want to upgrade that my watch for that.
Well, I was the same. I didn't see the reason to upgrade from the Series 5 from you. You're on the Series 5. I stay with the Series 4.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it.
The always on.
The difference was it's always on.
The always on is nice. I like it. It's not a huge niceness. I wouldn't be if I had to have a Series 4 instead of a 5. I would not be unhappy.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with the 6 to make it appealing. Other than maybe I think they're just trying to get it in more people's hands at this point, which would
the wrists too.
The wrists, yeah. So they're just trying to get it maybe cheaper, and focus on the health. And if they could, if this year they could make it so it could kind of, give indicators of COVID, it's a good year to do that. So, if that blood oxygen thing happened, I don't know if they could ever get a temperature reading. I haven't seen any watch doing that.
I know, just like they want to do the glucose levels too. They've been talking about doing that too.
You would think there'd be a way to. The thermometers now, I've seen.
You would think.
Ones that don't touch your head. There's ones where you walk in and they have this camera that's also taking your temperature. You would think that something could do this, So yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the watch. I'm curious.
Yeah,
but it's definitely it's definitely going to be announced.
There was also discussion maybe a kids type watch. I tend to doubt something like that would be something they'd do, but hey, we'll find out. iPhone 12, I don't think is going to get announced. I'm pretty confident from all the things I've read. So we won't go too much into that. As we know, so far there's supposedly going to be three different size phones, going from the iPhone 12 Pro, the Pro Max, and then the 5.4, 6.1, 6.7. We'll find out, but I don't see that one be happening too much. We just talked about the 5G on it. iPad seems to be more of a good thing that they may come out with. I don't think it's going to be a Pro. I think it's going to be an iPad or an iPad Air, or maybe something like an iPad Air 4 and maybe an 8th generation iPad of some sort to boost up the middle market. I also had heard that potentially they may add the support to the second gen Apple Pencil, which would be cool because that's magnetic charging as opposed to being the ridiculous plugging it into the Lightning port, which could lead to believe, as I had the discussion yesterday, could these new iPads switch finally over to USB-C as charging? And we had debate on that. What did you think? I think it's very possible.
Yeah. So the iPad, the rumor of it being more of a iPad Pro looking machine with a bigger screen. That's and Touch ID on the side, which actually sounds awesome, to be honest with you. Right. If my iPhone had Face ID or Touch ID on the side, I think that would be like a killer feature. It's certainly in the rumor diagrams, it certainly looks like it could handle a magnetic pencil on the side of it compared to the current ones, which are more curvy. So yeah, for sure it could be that. Would love to see an iPad mini in that form, in an iPad Pro kind of form. I think that'd be awesome.
So much about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love my mini, but it's ugly.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else. So the watch and the iPad, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that much of an event, and that's what people are wondering about, whether that's enough.
Is it possible the AirTags, they've been talking about that of course is the tracking little device that like Tiles, one of the big companies that's been making those for years. That can be put into your accessories and put into your wallet and be able to track where they are. So they're talking potentially that could happen as well.
Those I would be excited for. Yeah, I would. Those I would like to get. I could see a lot of uses. Yeah,
I've had those Tile. Excuse me. I've had those Tile ones before, and they're pretty cool.
They're cool. Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that they use the low, some kind of it's a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or near field communication with some Apple devices. Right. Gives you a better possibility of finding what you need, because that's the problem with the Bluetooth trackers, is if they're too far away from you, then you're done.
Yep.
So that I'd be excited for. Definitely will get those and look forward to that.
So we'll definitely find out next week. We'll be covering the after event on next week's show. We'll actually have Adam Christensen on from the MacCast next week. So we'll definitely have some good analysis on what happened at the event on this coming Tuesday.
We'll either be very happy or very sad, or
they're the same,
or the same, or broke, or saving our money for something else.
Yeah. Get down with money saving. Who knows what I'm going to be buying? So beta this week, they actually released beta 8 on yesterday, and it didn't seem like it was much of a release. There was and they actually did the developers and public version on the same day, which was interesting. I hadn't seen them do that before. Have you noticed anything different on it as of today?
Not one thing. It looks exactly the same as before.
I know the app library improvements as far as naming and suggesting what groups they should go into. They finally made some better choices of the names. I think, and that probably came in beta 7. But I did notice some improvements. It grouped things in a way that I thought were very fitting. Like I've got a group here that says creativity, and it put the camera. I have the Twitch app, my Photos app, and the Google Photos app. They're all put into one app group, so app library. So
I have a pretty big other category, which means I couldn't figure it out. So I have one.
Yeah, other actually, because the beta phone I'm doing, I just started downloading a ton load of apps and just wanted to see how it would do it. Productivity and finance, that it created that group in the app library. But we'll definitely be covering a lot more of what iOS 14 has and get more in depth as once it's released, because I think more people will be interested while they have it in their hands. We could sit and talk about it and you're like, okay, I can't see this, so why are you telling me about it? So
yeah, I mean, it feels snappier, and if we believe what we think we believe, I think it's got to be pretty close to release.
I would think that's the thing I kind of want to discuss is, our buddy Guy Cyril always is just debating us. So iOS 13 is not going to get released till next year.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey, I just think there's no way.
No, they
I think the way things are trending now is I really think that it's going to be out end of this month, end of September.
Yeah, well,
I'd be very surprised if it wouldn't be.
I mean, if the watches are available, if the new Apple Watch Series 6 is available,
too, because WatchOS 7,
it's going to ship. They're not going to ship them with the WatchOS 6 on it. So if that's the case, then if you'll have to do it. So
it's the watch depends on the iPhone iOS. So
right. So let's pretend they announced the watch on Tuesday. Then they either say that they'll be available to buy the following week or 2 weeks. I think it depends on the product. So, at that point, then I would expect that Tuesday they're going to release the Gold Master of the beta. And then the next Tuesday is probably when you could actually buy the watch and the final release is out. That's probably what's going to happen.
So, yeah, I just, like I said, I just don't think... I'd be very surprised that we didn't see it. People are anxious. I think everybody's pretty excited about the app library part of iOS, and people will start understanding how you can hide pages and all kinds of the great things you can now do in iOS 14 versus what's in iOS 13. So,
it's not overbearing changes. It's nice. I mean, the widgets are nice. I use the widgets. For sure.
Widgets too.
Yeah, Siri suggestion widget is one of my favorites. It kind of puts your Siri suggested apps on as a widget and a 2x4 widget, and which is really nice. Yep. So there's I would like to see more widgets come about, which would be nice. I would use them. But all in all, I think it's getting there. The phone feels faster, and the battery seems to be a little bit better than it's been. And I think that was the last iteration, is basically performance and bug fixes at this point. Yeah.
So, and then also I included an article in the show notes, iOS 14's app library, an FAQ. If anybody's not familiar, we've had him on the show before, and we'll probably try to get him on the show once iOS 14 releases, is Mr. Josh Senners. He is the author of Take Control Books, the iOS series books, and he's already has released pre-released iOS 14 from Take Control Books, and he also works for Tidbits, and I've got a link into the show notes of the Tidbits article of what he wrote, as well as he was on Chuck Joyner's show on Mac Voices talking about this, the FAQs of everything you need to know or want to know about the app library in iOS 14. So take a look at that article, and again, we'll definitely be covering more of that as it gets closer when it's released, so it's in everybody's hands, so then everybody can kind of listen to some of our views and analysis of what.
And we'll be answering that one question that everybody's going to ask.
Exactly.
Which is should I upgrade it? Should I upgrade? What do you think? Should I upgrade?
You're going to be waiting Back to the Future. You're going to be getting like 100 of those questions.
Just, should I upgrade?
Read this one. I've already replied to it.
I have an iPhone 10. Should I upgrade? I have an iPhone 11. Should I upgrade? I have an iPhone. That's just the same question over and over again.
We should just get as your administrator, just go into the Back to the Future group and pin your response at the top.
Yes.
So, yes.
If it's compatible, just do it. Yeah.
Short. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're going to say yes. You're on beta. So
I mean, for the iOS update, I think it's fine. The Mac updates have been a little bit sketchier for me to suggest them. But
I dabbled a little bit in. Actually, I just downloaded the latest version of Big Sur. I know it's off of our topic, but it's Apple. It's related technology.
Yeah.
It's hard to install it do a clean install, because I was trying to do that, and I just got a Mac behind me. I was just reinstalling OS on, and I think it's got some. I think it's got some work to do yet it's ready for prime time.
It's got some work, but there's definitely issues. And then obviously we got caught with the 32-bit apps going away in the last, and Catalina and that.
Catalina, so it won't be as bad.
No, it won't be as bad. But back to iOS. iOS is generally a fairly safe bet to tell people if the phone's capable to upgrade, then you should upgrade.
Yeah.
I usually feel pretty comfortable doing that.
Yep. All right, let's move on to our tips section here of the show, and I've got some tips here that I wanted to kind of go over with you. And the first one actually was about this. I don't know if we probably have talked about this before, but I would like the people to just be reminded of it. The significant locations that setting is turned on, and to get to it, you go into settings, and then you go into privacy, and then you go into location services. Scroll all the way down to this list and go to system services. Then you scroll all the way down to there. You're going to find significant locations. It's in the last of the first section, and you may see it as on. If you tap that, and of course it'll ask you for your Face ID or your Touch ID, and it gets kind of scary. You kind of go down and look at your history. If you hadn't cleared it out, it's going to know where every place you've been since the last year.
Okay.
In fact, it showed I was like when I was in Vegas earlier this year in January, still in Vegas back in November of last year. So. But this is a place if you don't feel comfortable that you want your iPhone tracking those significant locations, you can turn it off. If you do that just by tapping the button at the top there, but it will warn you. It will warn you and say disabling significant locations will affect many Apple apps, including and services, including the personalized location services and maps and Do Not Disturb and CarPlay and Siri and Photos, and so. You just think, buyer beware. Just think about that. If you want your photos to have the meta tag in there to show where you were when you took that photo, you may want to very well leave that on. I leave it on. It doesn't bother me. I don't know what you think, Warren, but iPhone is so secure at this point now. It's encrypted. People aren't going to find out any of that information beyond what's within the four walls of your iPhone. Don't you think?
I'm looking now. I'm like paranoid.
Are you checking your phone to see how many locations it's showing?
Well, so I go under System Services, and then it brings me to another page that doesn't have my location listed.
Oh, it might be different in iOS 14. I didn't even look at that.
I see it. Significant locations.
Is it? Okay.
Okay, Sarah. And then it's turned on. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. You see all the places you've been?
Yeah.
Hey, I remember I was there.
but it only goes back a certain amount of time.
Yeah, just for a amount of time. So.
And it has a nice clear history. There we go.
So
now.
All right. So my first tip. Second tip, taking a screenshot on of your entire web page on an iPhone or an iPad. Have you done this before?
No. I've created screenshots, normally with the buttons, but not the way you're saying. So what you do is, as everybody should know, to do a screenshot, you push the volume up button and the power button at the same time. It'll make a little sound that you just heard in the mic there. You bring up the screenshot that you want to edit. There's two buttons at the top. You have screen or full page. If you tap full page, what it's going to do is it had already captured the entire page
of that website. So that entire website page could be really long. It'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. Because when you save a screenshot, it'll usually save to your photos, or it'll have a separate folder for screenshots. But if you tap full page, then you go up to the page up arrow to save it. The only choice you'll have is to save it as a PDF, and then you choose where you want to save it. Save it to the files at that place at that point. And then you can go back and look at it, and it's in a PDF format. And so you can go, like, if you wanted to look on your Mac and you wanted to take a look at a full page of a website through the iPhone. The iPad would be a little different because, of course, it's a bigger screen. It's taking a screenshot of a larger size screen. So, so you said you did not know this, or you had not done this. You had not done this before.
This is new to me. This is good.
All right. So we got to find these good tips. So another one I found to be interesting is holding down the space bar and moving the cursor for wherever you want to go. So, like, a good example is when you're in messages, you're typing away on something, and you want to just type it out, but then I want to move it over because I missed typing here. And you know how we normally would do it? We would tap our finger, just try to get it right in the same place and move it to where it goes. And a lot of times it doesn't want to move. So if you tap and hold the space bar, your keyboard becomes a big giant touchpad, and then you can move the cursor wherever you want. So this works in messages, this works in notes. Any app that has typing input into it gives you the option to be able to get your cursor where you want it to be. Did you use that one before?
That one I do use, and I do not. I use it often.
Often.
Yes.
All right. I figured that one might be a usable way to do it. So, and then if you type in. If you're typing in let's say you're in Safari and you're typing in a name of a website, start typing in the name of a website, and you don't want to type in the end of the URL, you could tap and hold the period, and that brings up a menu of other .coms like .net, .eud, .org, .us without you having to type it. So you can scroll, like if you have one that's .net, you can just go right to it, and it'll actually bring it right to right into the URL, and then get you on your merry way.
That I've seen, but don't really have a big use for. 99% is .com. So, but yeah, I've seen that one.
And then other tip, this goes on to the Apple Watch, how to install and remove apps on the Apple Watch. It drives me crazy on the Apple Watch that if you don't turn this off, it'll install every single freaking app on your Apple Watch, and I don't want every Apple app on my Apple Watch. So how you actually go in and install them, actually you can do them right from the watch now. You can search and it'll automatically install them, and then alternately you can scroll through and be able to do that. But how to remove them, you can do it from the Apple Watch now. You can just like you do on an iPhone, you tap and hold, and you got those little tiny dots next to the icon, and you could tap and remove it. You also could do it in the list view as well as the grid view, and then you can bring the digital crown over as well. But you'll also find that it's probably easier just to go into the Apple Watch app on your iPhone and go through and change the way and change it there and remove them. I always do this all the time. I go through the list and I take a look and see, okay, is this app installed on my Apple Watch? No, I don't want it. You just tap it, then just tap the slider over, and it removes it. And it'll show listed apps that are installed, and it shows available apps. So I have a really long list of available apps, and because I have way too many apps on my phone as it is anyway, that have companion watch apps. You just go through and do that. And I'm sure you've done that before.
Yeah, it looks like on in list view, at least you could swipe to the left and it'll delete it too that way. So
absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
And then the last one I wanted to talk about today is when you're in text messages and you want to actually shift the keyboard if you want to be typing one-handed, left or right. You tap and hold the emoji icon, and then you'll see three keyboard icons there. So you tap the one to the right or you tap the one to the left, and then then you can have a keyboard that allows you to much more easily type with your thumb. Because I think most people will do that with one-handed typing. I don't do that too often. I don't know if you do or not.
I don't. Nope.
Right. So those were my tips for this week. So let's talk about some apps. I discovered this app, and actually, I actually originally discovered it on Mac Voices because Chuck Joyner had interviewed the developer of this app. It's made by a company actually that's based out of the UK called Reincubate, and the name of the app is Camo. And what Camo is it wants to make you look amazing on your video calls because this day and age we are doing lots of video conferencing, whether it be on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Jitsi or any of those other services. So this is an app that you install both on your Mac and on your iPhone or your iPad for that matter. And there is a free version, so it has limited capabilities on the free version. And what it allows you to be able to do is you actually have to plug your iPhone in into your Mac with a connector, of course, and then it does connect the phone to the software that's on the Mac, and then you have access to the source, and then it gives you the option of using whether you want to use a wide. In the case of the phone I'm using for this demo that I'm not showing anybody, but you have the wide angle lens or a selfie. If you had the 11 Pro Max or the 11 Pro that has the 3 lenses, you would have access to all 3 lenses and be able to do that, but you'd only have access to 1 lens on the free version. And I showed Warren this to you earlier, and you said you didn't think it was as good a quality as any. It didn't make much difference to you.
They both look pretty good. So you have a decent webcam also. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm showing it. If anybody who's watching the live feed or watching the video after the fact, this is a 10R, so I'm using the selfie view. So the camera is not as good as it is on the 11 Pro Max, but I find that the quality was just tremendous. I mean, going back and watching the videos later, it just seems to be a much better quality. So if you want the paid version, there's a yearly license on it, so it is a little pricey. So it's $39.99, and what it does is it does give you access to all the features, including you can watermark videos, you can mirror your video, you can play with zoom and rotation. It does have presets that you can set for capture settings, whether you like different focus positions, shutter speed, ISO, brightness, all those settings as well on the Mac app itself. And gives you access to all that. You also can change your resolution. So here I didn't change this. I was in 720p. Now I'm on 1080p, and you can even see a bigger improvement as far as the quality goes. And of course, it's really zoomed in on my face, but you'd have to have this camera pretty far away from you, or have an iPhone 11 Pro Max to use the wide angle lens if you wanted to. But no, I thought this was a kind of a cool thing, and you could play around with it for free, and it does have some limited capabilities to what it does in the free version. But it is they did make it into a yearly service, so it's kind of subscription. So buyer beware, you might not be a subscription kind of person to want to do that. So check it out. Any other thoughts on this app? I thought it was pretty cool.
So with the free version, you could just use it. It just has a basic web camera.
Yeah. I mean, it was only like in the case of our phones, 11 Pro Maxes, it would only use just the standard wide angle, not the ultra wide or the telephoto.
Right, but a lot
you
of
would
people
have access to the lenses.
A lot of people are having trouble finding cameras nowadays, so that's good to
This could give you a good option. Cameras are starting to loosen up a little bit. I've actually been finding Aukey, AUKEY, which is we know that brand.
I've seen them.
They've been selling that. I saw all of a sudden they have a nice webcam for $40.
Yeah.
So who knows how long the stock will last on those? So the webcam I'm using is of course the de facto most people have these days is the Logitech the C930 which is a decent camera for webcams. But you definitely notice a difference because I see other podcasters and others that use like really high-end cameras, like those Sony cameras and others, and the picture quality is pretty amazing,
pretty good
compared to these webcams. So
yeah, but in a pinch, it's not bad. And I see they're working on a Windows version too. So
yep, because they should be jumping on that market because this is big right now. People want, and that's why I think they know where they are in the market, because webcams are so hard to find, as well as we're all living in this virtual world right now. We're doing everything through Zoom and through other means, Skype and such. So check it out. I'll have links in the show notes. If you have any feedback, let me know. Send an email at feedback@intouchwithios.com if you've tried it out. I'd love to hear if you what you thought of this, and if it's something that you might find to be useful. So
very cool.
Any other comments?
No, it's very. The website looks great.
Yeah, like I said, it's a UK-based company, so it's interesting. So it's
right.
It's going to be really cool.
So when you pick your language, up on the top, it has the British flag. Don't be scared. That is English still.
That is English.
So you go with that.
That is English.
Very cool.
All right, couple more apps here I have, and some updates to apps. The first one was Good Notes. Have you ever used this app, Good Notes?
No, I've heard of it, but I never did.
Yeah,
I use Notes.
It's very popular, and it's also a PDF editor. And they did update to support document sharing over iCloud for the first time, because they hadn't had that before. So once you update this version, it is available now to do sharing with iCloud. It's Good Notes version 5. It's $7.99 that it costs in the App Store. You can download it on iPhone or iPad. But it's a pretty cool note taking app. I mean, I did a presentation on note apps at Macstock, back a while ago. So of course I had to take one for the team and buy a couple of these apps. So as a comparison, so it's pretty good. It's right up there with Apple Notes, which I really love. Apple Notes, I use it a lot. But even Microsoft OneNote, I use that as well. So there's a lot of good note taking apps, but this one is definitely one you should check out. And then the same company that we just talked about with Camo, they also have an app called Lookup. It's and in the App Store, we have a link in the show notes. It's Reincubate Lookup, and what this is a serial number and IMEI checker. And then some people might be asking, what is IMEI? Well, that is the identifier of your iPhone to see whether or not this phone can be activated. Because sometimes you might get into a situation where you want to buy a used phone, and you take a look and see where the phone has been and if it's legitimately able to be activated. It also has a capability of looking up serial numbers, so you can look up serial numbers for iPhones and iPads and Apple Watches, Apple TVs, your Mac, and then give you a lot more detailed information in relates to that. So check that app out. That's absolutely free, and interesting way of being able to see what your if your phone is definitely legit, if you're going to be buying it or not. I don't know if you're aware of this app or if you've seen this before.
Oh, I haven't, but there's other reasons to get that IMEI number. Sometimes your provider asks for it,
right?
So there's it's good to have. I think wasn't Guy looking for it on his when he got the
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah.
So this app would have came in handy for him.
Yeah,
so.
Other than reading glasses or a magnifier.
Thinking about this, I actually talked about this at my iPhone special interest group for my user group. I discovered this. This is interesting. I didn't even know this. I actually just put this photo in the show notes for you, Warren, to see, and everybody else will be able to see it. The model number that's on your iPhone. If you go in, the way to look up your model number on your iPhone, because this is coming into a tip and an app here. If you go into settings and you go into general and then if you go into About, of course, that gives you all the information about your iPhone or your iPad for that matter. The model number is usually the fourth one down. And this grid here that I've put into the show notes, it actually gives you an identification of whether your phone was new, which starts with the letter M in the model number. If it's been a replacement, it starts with the letter N as in Nancy. If it was personalized for some reason, you get a letter P. And if it was refurbished, and maybe let's say you could have bought a refurbished iPhone from Apple for that matter, it would start with the letter F. So that is the way to be able to identify which phone you have if you happen to have bought an older phone. I thought that was kind of cool.
That's cool. Never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I found this out. In fact, I shouldn't admit to it, but I will. I was on TikTok. Somebody has been doing. I'm finding that TikTok has some, because there's such short little videos that keeps your attention span. There's a guy on there that I was watching that he just was rambling off tons of iPhone tips, and that was one of the things he saw, and I didn't even know this before.
I don't want to get started with TikTok. I don't want to get it.
You should not.
I don't want to.
Trust me. I've been avoiding it.
I don't want to get hooked into it and then have to get rid of it. So all that good stuff.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid it, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Also, I also mentioned Google Maps. There's a link in the show notes. That was actually announced yesterday. They have now returned to watchOS. So for those of you who don't like Apple Maps and want to go back to using Google Maps and be able to use it on your Apple Watch, it is now available in the App Store to work with your Apple Watch. So you can do your directions through Google Maps as well. I'm not sure if you saw that or not.
I saw the article. I haven't played with it yet. I do have Google Maps on my phone, but I'm pretty good with the Apple Maps, and it has pretty good Apple.
Yeah, I prefer Apple Maps.
Yeah.
I think I've been happy with that.
Yeah, me too. Except during one of the betas, the Apple Maps crashed every 2 minutes. So that didn't make it very useful when you're trying to drive somewhere. Like, damn it, where am I going? Oh, got to open it again. The good thing is when you opened it again, it resumed your drive. So you didn't have to put the address back in. You just had to keep opening it. So.
Are there any apps that you have come across lately that that caught your eye?
Next week I'll be talking about the Tesla app, I'm sure.
No, I can't wait.
Yes.
I can tell you one thing. I bit the bullet and I decided to buy a Synology.
Oh yeah, you asked me about
Synology Drive.
That.
Yeah, and I'm not one of the crazy ones who spends $700 or $800 or $900 or $1,000 on their really high end Synologies. Which, if you think about it, what a Synology is, it's basically like a computer. I mean, but it's a computer. It's a NAS. It's a network attached storage device that goes on your network. And I actually set it up. I'm turning it into a Plex server, and I am noticing a tremendous difference in speed because I was using my Mac Mini as my Plex server. I'm going to convert the thing over. So what I did was I installed 2 1 terabyte solid state drives in it, and I've got a external 8 terabyte drive plugged into the USB port, and so I got myself a nice little NAS. And the reason I want to bring it up is because you actually, because to access the interface, it's got a web interface, so you can be able to make changes and all that stuff. There is an app called Drive that gives you access to your Synology through your Quick ID that you set up, and it allows you to be able to browse that drive if you ever wanted to get to the files or be able to look at it or take a look at that. So that was one app that I thought would be cool to check out, and I haven't started playing around with it just yet, but check it out. I think it's something pretty cool. So
yeah, Dave Hamilton talks about it all the time.
Oh yeah, he loves Synology.
Yeah, no,
probably next time we have him on the show, we'll like to talk to him about that.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, I've tried to come up for reasons in my mind why I should get one, and I can't. I don't have anything I would put on there, so that's the problem. Yeah. I don't have a reason for it. I picked up a WD Cloud like years ago. which is like a baby NAS, I guess, and it's fine. I think it has like 4 terabytes, and that's all we need.
Another app I just remembered that I just downloaded. There's a new news network that's out there now. It's on WGN America, and it's based actually here in Chicago. It's called News Nation. It just started just this past Monday, I believe it was, since we record this. Maybe a week ago Monday. So it's been about maybe 10 days. And interesting network. It's a very they're not they're biased. They don't lean to the left or to the right like CNN and Fox News do. And it's kind of a cool network to watch news. And they've got their app, and their app is actually pretty good. And you actually can live. It looks like you can actually watch the live broadcast right from the app on there as well. So check it out. Links in the show notes. News Nation, and I think it's a pretty good source of news. So still no apps, huh?
Well, you reminded me of one I like that I used a lot too. It's called Newsbreak. And,
okay.
And it's what they consider ultra local news. It basically tries to pull up like the town news, the township news, and it's pretty cool if you want to find very local news stories. Because if you go to some of the bigger news sites, you can't really get that.
All right, we'll check that out.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
The Newsbreak.
Newsbreak is what it's called.
Of course, when you Google it without having iOS in it, it doesn't have the iOS version. It has the Android version.
I'll find it. I'll link it and find it. Hold on.
Yep, I already got it.
You got
it's already in there.
Cool.
Yep. All right. Newsbreak. Local headlines.
Yeah, it's
so
kind of
you
neat.
Can actually customize it to your local area. I like that.
It actually finds you. So like now I'm in New Jersey and in Belmar, and I opened it up and it's pulling up Belmar.
Oh, it automatically by your location.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you allow it, so it pulls up the local stories, which is kind of neat.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we could pretty much wrap things up here. That was a good show. I think we had lots of great information to provide you this week.
Not as much as next week. Next week,
not as much as next week. We'll have we have the Apple event coming up, and as I mentioned, Adam Christensen will be on the show, which I'm excited. We've got some great new other guests planned for you for the next 3 weeks, including Adam. So I hope you come give us a listen and keep listening because we enjoy doing this. So, and with that, that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, suggestions, questions, and all that stuff to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. We'd love to hear from you. We don't get too many emails, and I would like to hear what makes you tick, what's going on with you, and if what you like about the show, or maybe even dislike about the show. I'd like to hear about it. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios.com. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others, including Spotify as well. But go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Warren, where are people going to find you?
They'll have to look hard. Facebook, the Mac to the Future webpage is a fun place to go. Other than that,
what's been the hot topic on there lately? I'm on there every day too, so I think there's always something.
Today's headlines there. People asking legitimate questions. People being happy that they switched to Android.
What?
I mean, switch from Android. I'm sorry.
Oh, from Android. Okay.
People asking what to buy. Somebody created a poll. This is interesting. Of how often do you upgrade your Apple products? And 75 people said when they need to be upgraded, which I find funny. Then 25 people said 3 to 7 years. Once a year is 13 votes, and then I said, do you even have to ask? Is basically what I wrote. So
come on Facebook. I know some of you may not like Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, look it up. It's a private group. You just have to ask to join. Mac to the Future. We have a blast on there. I think there's over 3,000 members. Lots of people, lots of friendly people, lots of good admins keep it all safe, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So you'll find Warren there, as well as I will be there. I'm there as well
all the time.
So we're all. Well, you're there more than I am. So
definitely.
That's why you're the man.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Warren. Appreciate it. Appreciate you, everybody listening. We really appreciate you being a listener and listen to the show. And we will talk to you again soon.